everybody, welcome to the Comic and Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I'm here to talk about the big news that came out yesterday by Deadline. I think it was either Hollywood Reporter or Deadline. It was one of the two. I think it was Hollywood Reporter, though, that James Spader will be returning to reprise his role as Ultron in the unannounced Vision Quest, which is going to be the spin-off of WandaVision. WandaVision is gonna be there's rumors. What they're saying is that WandaVision will be the beginning of a mini trilogy. The sequel will be Agatha, and the third following up with Vision Quest. And they haven't announced Vision Quest yet. The MCU / Marvel, they're taking their time with these things now. Like, a lot of people were upset that they didn't announce more things, but like right now, since everything that went down with obviously the last few phases 4 and 5, with all the shifts and having to rearrange a billion different things, the MCU's kind of taken a more, let's just say, steady approach. They're not going ham anymore. They're taking a little bit more of a measured approach now. They're kind of going back to basics. They're only announcing things a year in advance, and even then, they're not announcing everything a year in advance. They're just announcing the most important things. They're only announcing shit they know is going to be in production or is already in production. That's why they didn't say anything about Blade. That's why they didn't say anything. That's why they didn't announce any new stuff. They didn't say, "Oh, we're making this spinoff," or they didn't announce the sequel to Doctor Strange or Shang-Chi. They didn't announce anything because they are laser focused on what they have coming out. Like the MCU, they're not, like, they might be planning ahead, but they're not gonna announce too far in advance anymore, or at least, and they're especially not gonna announce too many projects. So we probably won't hear about Vision Quest until we probably won't hear about it. It probably won't be officially announced with like actual rollout till later next year. Like, honestly, when they have the cast nailed down, when they have the entire cast nailed down, when they have the entire idea solidified. You're probably gonna hear about Vision Quest until it's literally being filmed. But it's been talked about for quite some time. It's been rumored by multiple big sources, Hollywood Reporter and Deadline, and Snyder being one of them. It's been a lot of in Snyder, there's been a lot of people talking about it. Where there's smoke, there's fire. And with this news, and Hollywood Reporter putting the neck out and saying, James Spader coming back to voice Ultron, which, by the way, James Spader I love James Spader. I loved him ever since Wolf and Boston Legal. James Spader has always, in one of the things that I loved him in, funny enough, I watched him in this before he was in Ultron. I remember seeing him in this particular thing, and it was like, oh my god, that's so awesome. He's in a show that some of you know called The Blacklist. I very much enjoyed that show, The Blacklist. I kind of fell off of it, but I very much enjoyed him in that show. And he had such a menacing tone to him. In the way that, and so I was excited when he was cast to voice Ultron. And to be fair too, Marvel has changed a lot of things in the comics and in the movies, because now James Spader, they always get whenever they do Ultron, often it's a voice that sounds very similar to James Spader. Now, obviously, James Spader hasn't returned for a long time. They haven't had much need to, though. A lot of us kind of figured he wasn't once he didn't return in the What If show to do a little bit of voice work. Ultron was a big part of that first season of What If. And James Spader didn't come back to do that, so we kind of figured they were just done with Ultron. But some of the more eagle-eyed people would probably know that at the end of Age of Ultron, we really don't see what happens with that last Ultron bot. It cuts away. For all we know, Ultron managed to download his consciousness in the back of Vision. Now, I've always contended that in the movie Age of Ultron, Ultron manages to upload half of his protocols, half of himself into the Vision, into the droid, the Vision android, before Tony uploads Jarvis into it, and then Thor lightning bolts it, which essentially Vision is a combination of Jarvis, Ultron, and whatever magical mumbo jumbo is coming from Thor's hammer. That's what Vision is. He's a combination of those things. But inside of him is Ultron. So what So it kind of makes a bit of sense that if Vision was like depowered and reconstructed from scratch, and the Mind Stone's missing, and there are other parts of this version of Vision that are missing, like, that would allow the Ultron protocols, or the Ultron, or whatever Ultron put inside of him, to reemerge. So I'm curious about how they're gonna handle this. Is this gonna be a full, like, because it can't be but so crazy. We got the multiverse saga going on right now. It's clearly leading to Secret Wars. We know that Doomsday's on its way. So we can't really have Ultron going buck wild right now. You know what I mean? We can't really do that. And they can obviously set it up. Like, by the end of the season, Ultron could get loose, and it could be one of those things where it's just a thread that's in the background that's going to build up and become a thing later on, and we just, you know, we're just waiting for that other shoe to drop. And James Spader. But what I think is going to end up doing, and I think, which James Spader can do this in trades, is he's going to end up being like a devil on this Vision's shoulder. What I think it's going to be is, it's going to be called Vision Quest, and I do think it is going to actually be called Vision Quest, is that without the Reality Stone, this version of Vision is a deconstructed, like, he's pale skinned, he doesn't have all the memories of the old Vision completely. He's trying to find out who he is. And in the process of this Vision going through this quest of figuring out who he is and whatnot, he will have to make a choice, either to listen to the Ultron, who will be the devil on his shoulder, or listen to the original Vision, who's the angel on his shoulder. Or maybe they even have Wanda be in the show. I'm not sure. But I do know that I don't think, you know, like when we see, you know, James Spader's going to return as Ultron, I don't think he's going to be like Ultron. I think he's going to be more of the same way. If any of you guys saw Jessica Jones season 2, I believe. I think it was in season 2. At a certain point in season 2, Jessica Jones is hallucinating and seeing Kilgrave. She's unkilled him, but she's hallucinating and seeing him because a part of her is still attached to him. And I think it's going to be something along those lines, where he is seeing Ultron, or he's hearing Ultron. He's seeing/hearing Ultron. Because they're not going to pay all that much. Because first of all, if Vision's Quest is going to be a show, they are not going to pay that amount of money to be having Vision and Ultron on screen. At least with Vision, Paul Bettany's Vision, it's more prosthetics with a touch of CGI. But Ultron's all CGI. So they're not going to have him on screen 24/7. I can just tell you that right fucking now. So what they're probably going to have is his voice, and him trying to guide Vision, him trying to push Vision to a darker path. Maybe by the end of the show, like, Ultron managed to talk Vision into rebooting him, so it's something that's going to be set up for later events. But we don't got time in the MCU to really deal with Ultron, a full-blown another Ultron attack. And we also don't got time, and we also don't got the budget to have Ultron on screen 24/7. So I'm guessing that James Spader's Ultron is probably going to just be either a disembodied voice, or B, maybe they'll get a skull, maybe they get an Ultron head that he can talk to or something. But I don't think it's going to be Ultron walking around, you know, causing mayhem. He's not going to be the main villain of this, though I am curious who will be the main villain of this and how they're going to approach this, because Vision, like, for all this intents and purposes, this is essentially a Gamora situation, where this version of Vision is going to basically have to become a new person, essentially, because this version of Vision is essentially a brand new character. Just like Gamora. The Gamora in Guardians 3 is essentially a brand new character. This version of Vision is going to have to choose his own path, figure out where he's going to walk, a world without Wanda in it, you know, depending on how, as I said, depending on how Agatha All Along ends, it's probably going to be a world without Wanda in it, or these events will be happening concurrently with other events, so he wouldn't have Wanda around to negotiate him anyways. But I think that'd be kind of a cool concept if he has Ultron as the devil on one shoulder and maybe Wanda as the angel on the other shoulder. Bring back Elizabeth Olsen to get to play another supporting role, but like to just be this dichotomy in his head. That could be an interesting way to play it. I don't know if they would want to pay her that much money to just come in and do that, but they're going to pay Spader to come in and do it, so who knows. But either way, I'm intrigued by Vision Quest. I'm not excited about it quite yet, but James Spader coming back to voice Ultron, that gets me a little bit hyped. Anyways, thank you guys for the Concrete Movie Show. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.